Hey, Allie, do you think doing challenging physical things carries over to doing challenging things in life?
Hmm. Definitely has been true for me, and it's definitely true for our guest today, who is a second time guest, Miss Sandy Zimmerman. She is now a 10-time American Ninja Warrior, so she's done taking some tough physical challenges. She's an author and now a speaker to educators, and she's going to share how she's done all these big things in life.
She gives us a lot of actionable steps as well. So lots to dig into. But before we do that, let's give a shout out to Kluani Dobson. Thanks for listening. And now let's dive in.
Welcome to the Girls Talk Healthy Aging podcast, where we dive deep into pressing health and fitness issues facing aging women. I'm Allie Kerr.
And I'm Shauna Kaminsky. And together we'll bring candid conversations, expert advice, and personal stories that will inspire and empower you on your own wellness journey.
What a fabulous day that we have the lovely Miss Sandy Zimmerman, who's a 10-time now American Ninja Warrior competitor on the show, motivational speaker, and now an author of Get Out of the Car. Welcome back to the show, Sandy.
Yeah, I'm honored to be here for another round with you guys.
It sounds like you've had some things happening in life, so I can't wait for us to talk about all the fun stuff you've got going on.
Yeah, the ups and downs of chasing big dreams, for sure.
So, Sandy, tell us what is new since your last visit. Just give us a Cliff Notes version, then we're going to dig deeper into some of these things.
Okay. Well, I am about 3 years in now to the point where I felt like there was a new big chapter that was supposed to start in my life. I left teaching and coaching and jumped into being an inspirational speaker and author. I still coach, which I love, so I've gotten to stay in that element with some athletes that I work with. But it was a huge leap, a leap of faith, and feeling like this is now where I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to be doing, and that I can even impact more lives with this new chapter. And so, just like all big dreams and goals, it has been messy, very messy, ups and downs, good days and bad days. But it has been so exciting to feel like I have found the people that I'm supposed to reach and the people that I'm supposed to share my story with and where it can have impact. And that is a really powerful place to be in life, where you just have no doubt that this is where you're supposed to be and this is what you're supposed to be doing.
I love that as a former teacher myself, teaching prepares you so well for your next step, which is public speaking and coaching and leading. And so I really love hearing that you've found success in that arena, not surprisingly. We knew it was happening. We were just waiting for the updates. And competing on American Warrior, it's no small feat as well. So, how has your approach to training and competition evolved as one of the more mature competitors in that arena?
Yeah, one of the things that I've always loved about sport and activity is that all of the lessons that you learn on the court, on the mat, on the field, whatever it is that you're doing, absolutely transfer into every other aspect of your life. And so, growing up, I did sports and I did some really hard ones. I did the typical basketball and volleyball, softball, but judo is a really difficult sport. And so I think all of those life lessons and the mentors that I have met along the way have really shaped me into being who I am today, off the court, off the mat, off the field. And then as I've gotten into all of this American Ninja Warrior, that is, I think, of all the sports I've done, probably the most brutal. I mean, you literally have obstacles where you could be half an inch off and you are in the water, or half an inch on and now you're going to the national finals. It is such a difficult sport, both physically and mentally, but that's where it all transfers into all these other areas of your life. And so making this leap to speaking and to writing the book, I mean, if anyone looked at it on paper and said, wow, do you think a kid who grew up struggling to read and write would write a book? I guarantee you everyone would say no. And the other things that I've been able to accomplish. But I think, the biggest thing, that I look back on this is a couple things, is as you get older, you get much wiser. And I just think I had incredible things happen in my 20s and my 30s. And now here in my 40s, there's just some things that life experience can only give you. And it's been, I think a lot of people think, oh, you get into whatever age it is for them, they have this number. And I remember even my own, in fact, I was talking to someone this morning and I thought, gosh, I remember when I thought 50 seems so old. And I'm like, I am approaching that number. But I really honestly feel like these are some of the most incredible, best days of my life. And I see that I'm living, and I think it comes with wisdom. And also, as you get wisdom, you care a lot less about what other people think. And that is an incredible place to be when you just, you're chasing your big dreams and goals. You've lowered that voice in your head that is worried about what other people think and what other people will say. And you just chase, once you get clarity on what it is you're supposed to do, you just chase it with all your heart. And I guess that's what I've been doing. And even this American Ninja Warrior thing. It's like, yes, people laughed and thought I was crazy when I first started saying it. And now they're not laughing and they don't think I'm crazy. And so I think if we can get that clarity of where is it you're supposed to be and what is it you're supposed to be doing, and then you jump off the deep end and go for it, and incredible things will happen. But I think that's what I've been doing, is like, let me get clarity. And once I know it, like that gut, that intuition, God, the universe, whatever that is for people, once you know it and you feel it, I'm just saying, go all in. It has always worked out for me, even if it seems crazy, even if it seems impossible. And so I think I've just done that in all aspects of my life. And right now I'm on this, also crazy American Ninja Warrior journey. And here I am, 49, about to, going to be turning 50 when the next one airs that I am filming here soon. And I just think, yeah, it's crazy and it's fun and I'm chasing big dreams and it's also messy. So I don't want people to think it's rainbows and unicorns and wonderful every day, but it is such an incredible place to be and to live in my life. And I just love this age. I love it and the freedom that comes with it.
I love that. And we could just end the podcast right here and y'all just go back and listen to that a few times, because that just sums up just such an inspiring, motivating, just lessons for life that you just spewed out, just all this wisdom. So wow, y'all might want to just, that little segment I think is worth like several listens. Like just go all in. I love that. And I want to, so you're about to be celebrating your 10th anniversary with an American Ninja Warrior, and there's some exciting things coming up with your family. So we want to get the scoop on that. Can you give us some scoop?
Oh, this is the season. If anyone has missed American Ninja Warrior up until now, I feel like this is the season where you're going to want to tune in. It is my 10th anniversary, which even just saying that, I'm like, I cannot believe that it's been 10 years. Like, it's so funny. It's like raising kids, when they tell you that the days are long, but the years are fast. This is literally what I feel like with Ninja Warrior, that sometimes the days are long and it's hard training, but the years are fast. And here I am at year 10. And I am so grateful that producers on the show decided it would be an incredible story to get to celebrate my 10th anniversary with my family also on the show. So they have invited my oldest son, Brett, who is 19, my daughter, Lindsay, who is 16, and my husband, Charlie, to compete alongside me on this next season of American Ninja Warrior. So they have, gosh, they've been on this journey with me for 10 years, right? So my oldest, he was 9, Lindsay was 6, and my youngest was 4. They have literally grown up on the sideline watching me do this. And what's so special about this for me is a couple things. First of all, anyone that has ever accomplished a big dream or goal knows you do absolutely not do it alone. You have to have a team. And I've had my family supporting me, friends, my girls that give me the inspiration to keep going. And that team is what I get to celebrate this season, and then having my family on. But the second part that is really special to me too is that, I am passionate about American Ninja Warrior. I love it. I am like all in with it. And my kids, they love it and enjoy it, but not at that level. They do basketball, they do baseball, they do volleyball, they do all these other things. But when someone really loves you, when someone really loves you, your dreams become their dreams and goals too. And that's when you know you've struck gold. And I know that American Ninja Warrior isn't my kids' and my husband's big dream and goal, but they know that it's mine. And so here they are. They're going to put themselves out there. We've been joking that they're coming out of retirement to come be on the show with me this season. And so here they've grown up watching me do it. And here they are expressing their love to me in just supporting and being part of this journey. So it is going to be emotional. I'm going to try really hard not to cry on the show, but I can already tell it just means so much to me that they are part of this journey, and they've been part of this journey. They've grown up. I mean, on the show, I'm sure that they will go back and show my little Blake at 4 cheering on the sideline when I hit my first buzzer. So that they have joined me in this journey, and what an incredible thing that American Ninja Warrior and NBC is letting me have this core memory with my family that we will never forget, that we get to do this together and have this huge full circle moment for my 10th season on the show.
Well, we are all about healthy aging. And, you are the epitome of that, because 10 years ago at 40, that was probably one of the, I don't know, but maybe like pushing the boundaries of age at that time. Is that correct?
I know that up until that point, so when I hit my first buzzer, the significance of it really was this, is that the show had been on already 12 years, 12 years. And they had only had 12 women ever hit a buzzer. And all 12 of those women were in their 20s. So here I come along, not in my 20s, not in my 30s, but in my 40s, and hit my first buzzer. And so I think there was a lot of significance to it, in that I feel like sometimes we have to not listen to the statistics or not listen to the naysayers. And when you feel like this is where I'm supposed to be and this is what I'm supposed to be doing, this is an example of like, I'm going to go all in. Who knows what would happen? I could fail. I could hit a buzzer. You never know. But I think that's the clarity, like that I feel so deeply, that this is where I'm supposed to be. And yes, it seems crazy. And I think some of the best things in life in the beginning will absolutely seem crazy. And if they don't, then the dream's probably not big enough. It's probably not big enough. Go reevaluate what your dream is. And I guess I've always felt like that dream to be the first mom to hit a buzzer, that was like this huge dream up here. And may I get it, may I not. And when I started doing it, I knew it was like, that is the goal. It is here. The bar is here. And I may or may not get it. But I thought, even if I work really hard, let's say I don't get a buzzer, but I get to here. How incredible is that? But I think what the problem is most people have is they set the bar here and then they get it. And it was like, wow, that's the fear I think that people should have, is that I have set the bar too low for myself. Set it high, dream it big, like crazy stuff. And I always think it's so funny for me now, because I've done this for so long, is the second I hear someone go, wow, that's going to be really hard, or the odds aren't great, or geez, when I started my speaking, I heard, there were some people like, well, it's really hard to make it in that business, Sandy. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, that means it's go time. That means that the bar is high enough and I've set it here. And that for me is fuel. I love that. And my relationship with hard is probably not what most people, what most people it is for them. And I think that's a huge shift that I would love to see women do, is get that bar so stinking high that the world thinks you're crazy, and then go do it. And then what will happen is they'll all go, how'd you do it? And then we get to share our stories.
And one of the things that I love about you setting that bar high is, and you talked about your children being on the sidelines and being like your supporters, and this being their goal because it's your goal. And so many times with ladies, it can be hard to take on goals for ourselves, especially when you have family, because so many times women are sitting on the side, moms are sitting on the sidelines cheering their kids on.
Yeah.
But it's so awesome to see kids on the sidelines cheering mom on. And so thank you for showing us that is also, it's not one or the other, that, because I know your kids are also involved. They're super athletes themselves. So I know there's plenty of you on the sidelines cheering for them. But we don't see enough of our kids being on the sidelines, seeing that mom has goals. And so thank you for that inspiration of showing us that we can also, as moms, I'm not a mom, but those that are out there that are moms to young kids. You had a 4-year-old when you started this, right? So yeah. And you didn't say, oh, I've got to just focus everything on my kids' goals. Sandy has goals too.
Yeah, I think there's two parts to that. Is first that I am on my kids' sidelines a lot too, and their dreams and goals have become my dreams and goals. And it's so funny how that happens too, is that I think when you're in a really healthy, loving relationship, whether it's your kid, your spouse, your girlfriend, whoever it is, but that your dreams and goals become each other's. Like I can think of one of my really good girlfriends when I started doing American Ninja Warrior. She literally, everything was plural. When I told her I was going to do this, it wasn't, oh, good luck with your American Ninja Warrior application. She's like, sweet. Let's do it. Let's do it. Not you do it. Let's do it. And everything became plural. And I think, when you have that kind of support in your life, and so with my kids, I mean, they have some big dreams and goals, and those are we goals now too, which is exciting. But the other part of that is I feel like so many times, if people have ever heard this, things are caught, not taught.
We're going to interrupt this interview for just a second because we've got something we want to make sure that you know.
If you're struggling with your health, with your fitness, if you don't know where to start, or you know what to do and you're not doing it, we're here for you.
And all you need to do to get our help is to reach out to Shauna and I at our email, sapodcast23@gmail.com. And we're happy to help, and we will be in touch. Now back to the show.
And I think that is what I want for my kids. I want them to see me chasing big dreams and goals. It's one thing to sit down and tell my kids, hey, you ought to chase big dreams and goals. Or they can watch me chase big dreams and goals. And also support them in chasing their big dreams and goals. That it's not just a take. That all of our dreams, when you really love and care about someone, they all become plural dreams that you're all chasing. And so I think that's been something really incredible and special about my family, is that we are all locked in for each other, and we are the biggest cheerleaders. And I'm hoping, I look at my kids and they do have some big, crazy dreams and goals. And I think, I don't know, is it from watching me chase mine? I don't know. I'd have to think it's got to be a little bit of that, because I know we haven't sat down and said, hey, you ought to chase them. But I think in life, a lot of times things are caught, not taught. And what is it that the people around you are catching from you? And man, when I get to the end of my life, my legacy, if I've gotten people to dream bigger and chase them with all their heart, boy, that's an incredible thing to leave for the people that you've been around. So I see that in my kids, and it's exciting, and I'm going to just keep chasing big ones. But I think also the part that I would love to share on that is that, yes, chase big dreams and goals, but get clarity first. It's not like you just, hey, I'm going to do this on a whim. Like, I really spend a lot of time, and there's a lot of tools you can use in really being in tune to what is, your gut, your intuition, God, the universe calling for you to do. What is your purpose? What is your mission? What is it right now. And sometimes it's kind of a messy path, right? But it's incredible when I look back on my journey as a teacher and then doing American Ninja Warrior now as a speaker. It's like everything has been preparing me for where I am today. And you don't even know it in the moment. It is insane to me. But I look back on that when I can now zoom out and see the big picture. And I like, holy cow, it's like all of this has been laid out in a particular order. All of this teaching and the skills I learned there and the skills I learned coaching and those life experiences, and then my life experiences on American Ninja Warrior, how they led to being on stages and being comfortable, because I grew up shy, quiet, timid. I mean, debilitatingly shy. And it's crazy how it all just kind of prepared me. Like I never could have went from the shy, quiet girl to a stage with 3,000 people sharing my stories. But it's been incredible. And luckily, I think God and the universe are very patient because it has taken me a long road and journey to get to where I am today, to go from that shy, quiet to being on stages and owning my space and taking up space and sharing my story with confidence. But it's so crazy in life. I look back and I'm like, wow, everything that has happened, it's been preparing me for this. But sometimes in the middle of all that mess, you're like, why? Why is this happening? Why is that happening? And but then when you get to zoom out and see the whole big picture, it's like, whoa, it all worked out in the order that things were supposed to work out. And here I am. And who knows what this big stage now speaking, sometimes I think, wow, is this where I'm going to be? Or is this just preparing me for something even bigger? Who knows? But I'm excited to be on this journey and listening to my gut and intuition and taking those brave steps to where I feel like this is clearly where I'm supposed to be. And then I always say a little prayer that if it's where I'm supposed to be, bless it, make it clear. Make it succeed, make it beyond what I could imagine. And if it's not, this is a scary prayer to say, but if it's not where I'm supposed to be, let it fail. Let it crash, let it burn, so I know, okay, this wasn't where I was supposed to be. And let me put everything that I have, my heart, my soul, my passion, my time into where I should be.
Well, I do think that's the gift of age and having faith in looking as you zoom out like as an adult zooming out on your previous life, you can see where the stepping stones were clearly laid out, whereas as you were doing it, it was literally a leap of faith. and so tell us a little bit about and I love the title of your book, Get Out of the Car, because people might not understand where that came from. And really, the get out of the car was a leap of faith and a very scary moment for you. So can you kind of share where that started and how you look back on that?
So when I first started American Ninja Warrior, there was no ninja gyms, nothing in Spokane. Actually, at the time, nothing in even Washington State. And so I got online, started to do a lot of research. Where's the closest ninja gym? What are people doing to get ready for the show? And I discovered a little tiny gym in Boise, Idaho. And as I dug in a little further, I noticed there were ninja leagues and that they were hosting a competition. And I thought, well, if I'm going to really do this American Ninja Warrior thing, I've got to get around ninjas. I've got to get on actual ninja obstacles. And I've got to get in some competitions to get some of that experience. And so on a leap of faith, I signed up for their competition. And I drove the long 7 hours from Spokane to Boise. And I sat in the car in that parking lot for over 5 minutes, just frozen. And having that inner battle in my head, should I go in? Should I turn around and go home? Am I going to go in there and fail in front of everybody and make a fool out of myself? Am I too old for this? And then the other part of me going, Sandy, this is right where you're supposed to be, and this is right what you're supposed to be doing. Get out of the car. And so I sat in that car, and boy, it was a heated debate that day. Back and forth, go in, don't go in, go in. And I literally sat there frozen. And then finally, that inner voice, that strong, confident voice was like, let's do this. Let's get out of the car. This is how you learn and grow. And so I walked up to the gym and, I give myself a little pep talk. I'm like, all right, Sandy, head up, shoulders back, chest out, walk in like you own the place. So I thought, fake it till you make it, whatever you got to do, Sandy. So I open the door, I walk in, and it's an incredible atmosphere where on one side, it was like a big McDonald's playground set. Parents could drop their kids off, go run errands. And then on the other side were all the ninja obstacles. And I thought, oh my gosh, Sandy, this is it. This is it, your opportunity to get on real obstacles. And so I'm walking up to the front counter and I'm about to tell the young lady, that I'm there to check in for the ninja competition. And she says, oh, are you here to pick up your kids? Oh my gosh. I just thought, oh my gosh, Sandy, what are you doing here? And I let out a nervous laugh and I told the lady, no, I'm actually here to check in for the ninja competition. And then she said, oh. And there was this, long, awkward, silent moment. And she did eventually check me in, and I did compete in my first ninja competition, and I didn't crush it. I did all right, though. I got some of the obstacles. But the best part was literally at the end, and such a confirmation of this is where you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to be doing. And this is literally how you learn and grow. You have got to take the first step. And so we did a dead hang contest. And, I'd never done one. I was hoping to last a few minutes. And it came down, we got to the 9-minute mark. I'd never done a dead hang before. I look around and it's just me and one other guy left hanging from the bar. And I could tell that he was starting to get tired and that I actually had a chance to win this thing. So in desperation, he started some friendly trash talking. So he says, boy, I feel great. I feel like I could hang up here forever. He says, but you look kind of tired. You look like you might be falling here soon. And I just smiled, tight lip smile, didn't say a word until he asked me a question. He said, how much longer are you going to be able to hang? So I looked that turkey right in the eyes. I dropped one arm, I flexed, and I said, we're going to be here a while.
Love it. And that's incredible. 9 minutes is crazy for anybody
Yeah.
that's ever tried a 10-second dead hang, much less almost 10 minutes.
Yeah. So, it was, so I ended up getting the $10. It sits framed on my dresser today. And I just look at that moment of, had I not gotten out of that car, here's the thing. Had I not gotten out of the car, I wouldn't have been able to do all the incredible things that I've been able to do. But the most important thing is getting out of the car is the person that I've become. And that, honestly, the buzzers are incredible. The titles that I've been able to get in this sport are unbelievable. But really what I'm most proud of is the person that I've become. And if you met Sandy at that competition, 10 years ago, it is not the Sandy that you see in front of you today. And that to me makes me so proud. And I just feel like 10 years from now, I want to be able to say the same thing. If we're doing another podcast in 10 years, I want to be able to say, let me reintroduce myself because I have grown and evolved and changed so much. And that is the part of this whole journey that really I'm most proud of. The other stuff, though, I won't lie, is pretty cool. It's pretty cool to hit buzzers and all the things I've been able to do. But the person I've become, I'm really proud. When I look in the mirror, I'm really proud.
That is,
Yeah.
it really is the person you become along the way that is one of the biggest wins. And so when you go into schools or conferences to speak, is that the message you want to convey? Or what is the big takeaway that you want your, I'm going to say young women, because, we are the girls talking, but of course you're going to be inspiring men as well. But what is the big message you want them to come away with after they listen to you?
I think there's probably two parts. Is a lot of times in my talks, I think the big takeaway when I'm sharing my journey is that I want people to see that I think that we're all meant for more. I think when I hit that buzzer, the first buzzer that I hit on American Ninja Warrior, I look back at that moment and I think that was a huge moment in my life. You know, we have these hinge moments, these moments that kind of change everything for us. And for me, hitting that buzzer, it was amazing to hit the buzzer and like this cool record, but for me, it was like a message to myself, like it was a turning point in what you've done so far, Sandy, is amazing. You've touched a lot of lives through teaching. You've touched a lot of lives through coaching. And in that moment, it was like, Sandy, you're meant for more. Sandy, you were meant for more. And I feel like there are so many women and men out there, but there are so many women that don't realize like you are living an incredible life. And I was living an incredible life. I loved teaching. I loved coaching. I the kids were young and I loved being a mom. But I think there was just something that was like, yes, that was amazing. And now you're meant for more. And I think hitting that buzzer for me was that turning point of shifting that and going, okay, now this more is going to take a lot of courage and it's going to take me being very brave over and over again over a long period of time. And I think that's a huge message that I would love for people to walk away with is get the clarity on where you're supposed to be, because I think this world would be such an incredible place if we were all confidently moving in the direction of our dreams and goals and our purpose in life. Can you imagine? I mean, I know I'm a big dreamer, but I think what kind of world would this be if each of us sat and really got clear on what our purpose, what we were designed to be here for, and then we went all in? When I imagine what a world like that would look like, it gives me goosebumps. And I think that's what I want people to do, whatever yours is. You know, mine has led me on all kinds of different paths, but I feel like we all are here for a reason and we all have different strengths and talents. And if we can get clarity on what was I made here to do, and then we chase it, it's incredible. So that is definitely one of the big messages that I would love for people to get. The other second message that I share a lot, because I have had so many people come along in my life that have literally changed the trajectory of my life. Coaches, teachers, mentors, role models, so many people that have come. And I think I would not be here today either without them. And so one big thing that I talk about a lot is be the one that believes in someone so much so that it changes the trajectory of their life. And it takes one. It takes that one person. And I feel like, wow, if I could be that for people, or we could all go out and be that for someone, and then it has this rippling effect on other people. But I really feel like we could do that for each other, do that for the women in your life. If you've got someone out there, or I'm sure as people are listening to their podcast going, I know who my one is. I absolutely know who my one is. I mean, that to me is another message that I feel like we got to look out for each other. Life's a team sport and we're in this together. And if we can help each other, support each other, be the one for someone that can change the trajectory of their life, that's a pretty incredible thing.
I love that you're speaking and your book is doing that. For you're being the one for people, just being you and doing the things that you're doing. And I'm curious because when you write a book or you do a speech, you're doing public speaking, you've got things that you're wanting to convey, the messages you just shared. Sometimes that's what people hear. And sometimes people hear something else or read something else because that's just the eyes they're looking through and they're what's going on in their life. So are there any stories or things that have stood out from people that read your book or people that have gone to one of your speeches that maybe really resonated with them, or lessons that that really spoke to you or that just stand out?
I would say I've probably gotten the most feedback about the chapter on Coda, which there's a lot of dog lovers out there, but it's just a really fun, incredible story about how sometimes in life, I think we know we think we know exactly how things should be and how things should turn out, right? And then when they don't, it's just like devastating. And so that coda story is a story about how I thought for sure I knew exactly how things should work out and how they should be. And when they didn't, at first it's devastating. But then again, when I look back on that, it was one of those moments where it was the best thing ever to not have it work out how I had imagined it, because it actually turned out even better. And I think a lot of times in life that happens. You know, we have failure, we have setbacks, rejection, no's. You know, all of those things happen, and we're devastated, and it seems like the end of the world, and you're at, this low point. But if we can take one more step, and the next day take one more step and one more step, when we look back, how many times I bet people will say, when I look back at a hard thing I went through, a hard breakup, a hard rejection, a no to this job, a firing from this job, whatever it is, when you got to know, how many times though, in hindsight, when you look back, go, so glad that did not work out, because now it is even better than I imagined. It's just so hard though in the moment, right? You're feeling awful. You're at this low point and it's like, gosh, I feel like such a failure. And all of these thoughts are going on in your head. But if you can just take one more step, take one more step, I feel like all of those moments I've had in my life, I look back and I'm like, whew, thank God that didn't work out how I was hoping, because now it is even better than I imagined. So I think that chapter has been one that I've gotten a lot of feedback, that people have loved, and I think it still resonates, and it's still so true in my journey now. And sometimes I hit those points and I'm like, remember, Sandy, big picture. This is going to even turn out better than you imagined.
When you talk about rejection or failure, or hitting a wall, so to speak, and also being meant for more,
Mm.
and having big goals, this all requires like a lot of bravery and moving through fear. So what is your best advice for people that are feeling that it's constant rejection, it's always a
Mhm.
no? What now? how
Mm.
how do they move forward?
So two things. I think if someone has gotten clarity and they like have really spent time, like for me, I'll go up in the woods and it's my happy place and it's quiet. I'm unplugged. And that for me is where I feel like I can get a lot of clarity in quietness. And I think sometimes people don't do that. We're moving from this to this to this, and we don't just pause to like really be in tune to like our own thoughts, our own like passions and what's in there, and really listening to that voice within us. So I think the first part I would say is to get that clarity. And then the second part is, that's where the get out of the car, but I think you gotta take action. And here's the thing, the step from 0 to 1 is the absolute hardest. It's the absolute hardest. 1 to 10 is much easier. And so if people can just take the first step, that really is the hardest one. And I have said this to people before, and there's a fun story behind this, but I think the biggest killer of dreams is the word someday. And you look at all the research supports that. When we wait to take action, it increases our anxiety, it makes us more nervous and scared and less likely to achieve whatever that big dream and goal is. So once you get clarity and on your dream and goal, and it doesn't have to be big things. That's, I share this exercise when I talk with groups of like, it's 5 minutes, 5 dreams and goals. If you're not worth 5 minutes to sit down 5 minutes and get clarity and write down 5 dreams and goals a day, and it can be big things or little things. You can write the same thing or different things every day, and it can be about any aspect of your life. It can be about work, relationships, family, your faith, your finances, your fitness, whatever it is, something will keep showing up on that list. I guarantee you, there's so much research behind it. So, and it could be something little or big. Maybe it's like, boy, I want to take better care of my teeth and floss every day. If that keeps showing up, then go with it. Or if it's something big and huge, like you're making this huge life shift, it can be big things or little things. But I think once you get the clarity that, okay, this keeps showing up and this keeps coming on my heart and I keep thinking about whatever this is, I cannot shake this feeling that that's where I'm supposed to be, then you have to take the first step and you've got to take that action. And it's incredible if you're willing to be brave and take the first one. And then you just one, and I think the biggest, thing, it's like, I'm not the most talented, I'm not the smartest, and I'm not the strongest either. I do have big muscles. But what I excel at is consistency over time. If people are willing, and that takes discipline. There are days I don't feel like doing X, Y, or Z. But if you imagine every day, it's like you're putting in a little drop to that bucket. Not a big one, because that's where I think people go wrong. They have this, say you have this little jar and people grab the biggest rock and the intensity is like 3 hours a day, I'm going to start working out and I'm going all in and I'm eating salad and chicken and that's it. And they go with this intensity with this huge rock that doesn't even fit in the jar. Where really real life, I think, is this jar and it's one little pebble and you drop it in. And then the next day, you drop in another pebble and you drop in another pebble. And then it's that compounding over time. And I think for me, that's what I've excelled at. It's not all the other stuff. I'm not super great probably at anything, but what I am great at is I'm going to get that little pebble and I'm going to drop it into that jar today. Whatever it is. If it's speaking, I'm growing that every day. I'm not going to try to stuff one big rock in that jar, but I am going to take one and I'm going to put it in the damn jar and it's going in today, whether I feel like it or not. Or if it's my mother jar, I want to be a great mom to my kids. I'm going to take one little one and I'm going to go here. And are there days I'm not a great mom? Yes. And are there moments I'm not a great mom? Yes. But every day I'm going to intentionally take a little pebble and I'm going to drop it into that jar that means a lot to me. So I would challenge people of like, what is your jar? What is it? I want to be a great mom. I want my kids to know they're loved, cared for, and safe. And if I can drop one pebble into that jar every day, that's a good day and it adds up rather than one day love bombing them. And if I want to be a great speaker and I want my stories to change lives, I got to pick up a pebble and I got to put it in that jar every day. And I can do that. That's not overwhelming. But when we try to go at things with an intensity that is crazy, it lasts for a little while. It's like New Year's resolutions. They'll last for a little while, but it's overwhelming. And so I think my big thing would be get clarity and then drop one stinking little pebble, that's all, into that jar that's calling you. Is it fitness? Okay, one little pebble. Maybe you go for a walk today for 10 minutes. Maybe that's where you're starting, but you start. Drop the little pebble. Maybe you're not doing push-ups yet. Maybe you're going to do a plank today for a minute. Drop the one pebble in. And I think if every day you keep dropping, that's where the magic happens. That's how I've been able to accomplish anything. It's not some superpower, but it's the discipline and consistency over time. What means a lot to me? And will I put a little something in that today? Will I put also, though, ladies, I got a jar that's me. I am going to invest in me. What is it that fills me up? What is non-negotiable? I literally put those things on my calendar. And when people ask me, can you do this or that at this time? If going in the mountains with my dogs, that's a pebble I put in that jar every day and nobody messes with it. It is my happy place. It fills me up. It helps me do all the other hats that I wear. But it's non-negotiable. It's on my calendar. Plugged in. Nobody, nothing messes with it. If someone calls and says, hey, Sandy, I want to do a podcast with you. Not at this time, but I could do it here, here, or here. But I guard it. And so I think also, because ladies, I think we're the worst about this. And I don't know why, but let's change it. One of those stinking jars better be you. And every day, grab a little something that fills you up and plop it into that thing. Because if not, you're not even going to want to fill the other jars. You're not even going to want to fill them. But we tend to try to fill all these, and ours is off to the side going, if I have time, I'm going to drop a little pebble into mine. No, I think that's in the wrong order, because if I drop one into mine, boy, I'm a much better mom. I am much more focused for getting my talks and crafting my stories. And I can bring so much more energy to that. So that would be the second piece, is have the jars of what means a lot to you, but boy, yours better be on the front.
And you're like such an example, because I think so many ladies, especially, feel like it is such a challenge to juggle, especially if you're a mom and you have a career. So Sandy's doing it all. You're an author, you're a speaker, you're a 10 time American Ninja Warrior, and of course, mom. And so first, thank you for showing us that you can do it. What about the mom out there that's listening that's like, yeah, that's all great for you, Sandy. Sure, you're a superwoman, you're a 10-time ninja. Of course you can do all these things, but I am not you, and I feel less than, or maybe that I feel like, well, that's for people like Sandy. What about people that are out there listening that just don't feel like that resonates with them? They don't feel like they're superwoman like you.
Well, I mean, if someone actually met me, I am pretty darn ordinary, to be honest with you. I put my pants on one leg at a time like everybody else. I have good days and bad days like everybody else. It's funny. Two things came to mind. The first one is, I will say there's a word that all women need to learn. You put your tongue on the roof of your mouth and it sounds like this: no. And I think that's one place you start. There are some things I've had to say no to, and things that are great things. Things that I'm like, boy, that would be so amazing. That would be incredible. I would love to do that and this and that and this and that. But if I have that jar, then that means I may not be able to do my jar or my mother jar or my speaker jar, which are the jars that I feel like are the ones that I'm really supposed to drop a pebble in every day. And so I think first, you got to learn to say no. There are some things that will be great things, incredible things, and you got to say no. And the second thing is, I think there's no secret formula in other than that one little step every day. And I just think, why couldn't anybody on earth take that one step? What is it that is like you're listening to this podcast and going, wow, this area of my life, I can tell that's a jar that I've been neglecting, and I can tell that's a jar like I need to invest in that. That is really important to me right now. And it keeps coming on my heart. It keeps coming to that 5-minute list that I've been doing every day. It just keeps showing up. And put a little pebble in there and then put another one and see where it goes. But I would say, I guarantee you, if you'll sit and really think about that, every one of us is going to have something. And something's probably already turning in a lot of people's heads as they're thinking, like listening to this podcast, of like, whoo, I already feel this on my heart. This is the jar I need to put a pebble in every day. I would just say, get the clarity and then put the darn pebble in. And maybe it'll help having someone, to help you with the accountability. Maybe you do the jars together, or maybe you have a visual of the jar that sits out there and like, I'm going to actually drop that thing there. And then I'm going to call my girlfriend and we're going to go, did you drop a pebble in today? So maybe some of that accountability, but you don't have to be a superhero. I feel in so many ways, I'm just such a just ordinary person, and I'm doing some extraordinary things, but just because of that little pebble every day. And I had the clarity of like, I know this is where I need to be putting my time and my energy and my love and my, all of that focus into. And then also saying no. There's jars that are like, wow, that's an incredible one. But no, you have to also say no. So that would be my thought and encouragement for people that are listening, wondering, I don't know, Sandy, that's kind of for you or the other person. No, it's not. I think we all are here for a reason. And boy, if we could find that reason and pour into those jars, this world's going to be a pretty incredible place to be.
And saying no to some things means that you can really say yes in a bigger way to the things that are most meaningful for you. So I really love how you're talking about getting clarity and being intentional.
Speaking thing, it's been really exciting just that it's taken off and that I found my audience. I'm speaking to a lot of leaders in education and superintendents and principals. I think my story is a great reminder to them of how important, being that one and that anybody could be. So yeah, no, it was one of those where the first year I was freaking out going, oh my gosh, I used to have a steady income. And so that will somehow make it into a book, I'm sure eventually, because I mean, there were days I was crying going, oh my gosh, did I make the right decision? I felt like this is where I'm supposed to be. And then you keep grinding and grinding. And then the year 2 was when I wrote the book. So it was really hard to take a lot of time to speak and to take a lot of time to craft news stories. And so it was like kind of didn't feel like it was growing, even though it was. And then it really, this 3rd year has taken off, and it's amazing.
It's such a good fit. You're going from a teacher and teaching students, and now you're speaking to teachers and principals and people leading the school. And I think that's so inspiring because they're inspiring students and you're inspiring them. And that is such a great need.
Yeah, I think that was the part of feeling like, okay, this has been great, this 23-year career as a teacher, and you've impacted a lot of lives, but now I want you here on these stages and you're going to impact even more lives. So that's, I guess, what I'm hoping is now I was the one teacher impacting those students, and now hopefully I'm impacting all these leaders in education, and they can go back and impact thousands and thousands of students that I never could have reached. So yeah, it's been great. It's it's just like, especially the last one I went to, just really where I was like, wow, this is so reaffirming that I'm where I'm supposed to be. People are laughing and crying and like just thanking me that they're going into the school year like ready to go now. And so anyways, it's pretty cool.
That's really an important part of the message that like you did say, it's not all rainbows and unicorns.
Yeah.
But like like you said, it is messy along the way. And that is the real life aspect of it, that you wake up questioning sometime, and then maybe for you go in the woods and you get clarity, and then you pray or have intent for massive failure or a blessing on whatever you're doing, because then that really clarifies your path. If you keep hitting a wall, it's like, well, maybe this isn't the path I'm supposed to be on. But if the door keeps opening, well, I'm getting confirmation that this is so scary, but I guess I have to take this next step. You've given us a lot of gold, but we are going to wrap it up with one wish of, if you could leave our listeners with one small thing, what would it be?
I think I'm going to come back to that little phrase I said earlier, and that the biggest killer of big dreams and goals is the word someday. So make today your someday.
My wish would be, of course, y'all have listened hopefully to this episode, but also go back and listen to Sandy in episode 26. She was on the podcast before, if you want just boatloads of inspiration, and then actually do something, take action with all this inspiration and all these lessons.
And my wish is to take the step, drop the pebble, be intentional. And if you don't have the courage to do it on your own, like you said, Sandy, get an accountability partner, get a coach, get someone who has bigger belief in you than yourself, because sometimes that's what you need to carry you on, but keep moving forward.
Thanks for listening. You'll find me, Allie, on Instagram at Allie Kerr Fitness.
And you'll find me, Shauna, on Instagram at Shauna Kaminsky. Feel free to pop us a DM with questions and or feedback. If you're enjoying the Girls Talk Healthy Aging podcast, please subscribe and share it with other health-minded women. Ratings and reviews are also much appreciated and help us get our message out to a larger audience.
Until next time, be healthy and be happy.